kubuni jinsi ya kuweka taifa hili katika njia salama. Mtazamaji, ni shambulizi ama tuseme tukio.
Sasa Nairobi ndo capital city.
And then maybe you also talked about you hearing some gunshots some while ago before we started talking. What about right now? How is the situation?
The gunshots are in Canada. That's how it's good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Be safe.
Okay, thank you very much. All the best.
Okay, na mtazamaji, ndivyo hivyo tukisema na mmoja wale ambao nasema kwamba yuko katika eneo hilo na hali ya tiaji ngalipo ngalo nasubiria maafisa wa polisi wapate kuwasaidia kutoka katika eneo hilo, kumaanisha kwamba bado hali haijapata kudhibitiwa kabisa. Lakini tunajua kwamba maafisa wa polisi tayari wamefika pale, maafisa wa zimamoto tayari wamefika. Kuna baadhi ya magari ambayo kwenye moto, na kwa mujibu wa huyo ambayo tumesema naye, manake bado angali katika eneo hilo, anasema kwamba aliona watu wawili ambao walikuwa na wabeba bunduki na wakipiga risasi pale na mambo kama yale. Anasema kwamba alipata kuona hayo kwa macho yake na kisha wao wakaingia mafichoni. Kwa hivyo wako bado katika eneo hilo wakisubiria maafisa wa polisi pengine wapate kuwasaidia kutoka katika eneo hilo, lakini pale nje tunajua kwamba bado kuna mioto. Na kwa sasa tungependa kusikiza mmoja wa wale ambao wako katika eneo hilo, wanahabari ambao wako katika eneo hilo, tupate kusikia wanasema nini kuhusiana na wale ambao wamejionea na wale ambao wamejionea, tupate baadhi katika eneo hilo.
About 2:30 p.m. this afternoon, we were driving along Riverside Drive when we started to hear gunfire coming from the direction of the Riverside Hotel and the Nairobi University Hostel. When we arrived, the gunfire still been going, as you can see behind me. There are about 2 cars that are on fire. What we believe happened from eyewitness accounts is that people who were driving that car, that small Toyota right behind me, again access to the Riverside Hotel and began to open fire after about 30 minutes of waiting. Right. We'll try and see what else is happening, but right now the situation is quite tense, quite light. Yeah.
Ndio mtazamaji, mmoja wa habari hizo na namo ambayo kwa katika eneo hilo.
Nilikuja ukakatati mimi katika
their specialty is to get attackers or active gunmen who have held hostage people in a building. So that is the situation that we are in here currently on the 9th Riverside Street. That is where the Dixit D2 Hotel is, and a lot of right inside. We're told that gunmen are up on the roof and others are inside the building, just holding people hostage, so to speak, so that they can use them as a shield. So today is the 15th of January 2018. Remember, 3 years ago today, there was an attack at the LRD camp in Somalia, where Al-Shabaab militants are said to have overrun that particular camp. It is it is coincidental that this is happening in Nairobi on the anniversary. Okay,
for the sake of our viewers, Hassan Mugambi,
that's being led so far by George Kimoti, who is the Director of Criminal Investigation, who is right here. Some of the people who have been rescued from inside there, we can see, are being treated by the Red Cross Society individuals who are here, and we can see the ambulances already here just to get into, in case of any eventuality. We're now being told to sort of move back because we are sort of just not get into the arc of fire in case a bullet is fired through the building.
Tashuri, if you can hear me. Let's just pick up this again for our viewers. Of course, they can see you've been told to move back as ambulances try and make their way. First of all, you've been able to speak to authorities and you're telling us that there's that vehicle that they suspect had been carrying whoever, or the assailants or whoever is behind this attack. First, how are authorities treating this right now? have they gone into the building, authorities, and which building exactly is an attack?
Very well, Hussein. Let me clarify this. The hotel, the place that is under attack is Lucid Hotel. This is on 14 Riverside Drive, right here in Nairobi. And the vehicle that the attackers came in, we are told by the security officer here, is that KCN 340E, the vehicle that has been condoned off by the security officers here. What the security officers tell us is that the attackers came aboard this vehicle as they were approaching the security zone of the Lucid Hotel. They disembarked and went towards or marched towards the security officers who are marching the gate and started hurling grenades at them. And that's why the first loud bang was heard, and a series of more bangs continued. And so basically what is happening now is that after the radio call was made, and after the screams and the sirens and everything was made, and the officers around the police stations nearby were notified, they ran towards here. And so this area has been declared a security zone for now, and the security officers come through to first of all try and evacuate as many people as possible. Even the university halls of residence here in Chirongo, all the students who are right here have been asked to step out and head elsewhere, because now this is being treated as one of the security zones, and to ensure that even the attackers wouldn't escape using this route. And at the same time, the efforts that are being done to try and rescue as many people as possible from the hotel, even as the rescue squad officers and other specialized security officers try to advance towards the hotel to try and neutralize the attackers who are right here at the hotel in Nairobi. Hussein, sorry.
Right. So, I mean, what you're saying we don't know why exactly. But we've seen people being evacuated, especially if we're talking about buildings adjacent to Lucid Hotel. What about the hotel itself? And you're talking about authorities making their way in there. Have they made their way into the building? Or are they just evacuating, they're just building stuff?
The security officers have made their way into the hotel. The specialized team that is the rescue squad, who are specialized in close combat, have been called in, and they are advancing towards the hotel. Actually, they have gotten into the hotel. And one of the vehicles is on fire right outside the gate of Lucid Hotel. Unfortunately, we cannot be able to advance as close as we can towards that direction, because the security officers have now asked that we all step back so that we don't interfere with the security operations. Even the firefighters have been called in from Nairobi County government to try and, first of all, put out the fire that was lit by the grenades that were hurled and the vehicles that are right outside the Lucid Hotel. And once the fire has been put out, more and more attempts are being made by the security officers to try and advance closer and closer inside the hotel to try and rescue those who were working in the hotel, together with other guests who had made their way there before the attack. And as I told you earlier, we've seen a number of members of staff from the Lucid Hotel. A few have been rescued, and even as the officers continue to do their very best to try and advance as close as they can towards the hotel to try and rescue as many people as possible, even as the efforts to neutralize the attackers continue.
Now, surely have the gunfire subsided now?
We still have some more gunfire and more gunshots continue to rest here. And from where I stand, I can see a body of one of the persons who are right inside the hotel. What the officers don't know is whether it was one of the attackers or one of the clients, one of the workers right here in the hotel. But what they have done is to try and see the body, as well as to ensure that basically everybody who is coming out of the hotel is accounted for. There are also air attempts to, the security officers are also here on choppers trying to circle the buildings and the neighboring buildings, even as the efforts to rescue those who are inside the hotel continue from the air and on the ground.
Right, those are the pictures and the live updates you're getting right now at 14 Riverside here in Nairobi. Suspected attack, or it's an attack actually, at the Lucid Hotel, which houses several offices and restaurants. Francis Gashuri and Hassan Mugambi are on the scene. So they're bringing us the latest updates of what is happening. Right now we're seeing fighting engines going into the building. We've seen ambulances going into the building as journalists are told to move up the
usalama umejaa hapa sana. Wakiwemo wahindi pia wamejihami kwa hali ya juu. Wengi sana wameweza kuingia katika eneo hili na wanajaribu kukabiliana na hali. Na nimejaribu kuzungumza na baadhi ya wenyeji hapa, wanasema kwamba takriban mwendo wa dakika 45 kulikuwa na mlipuko mkubwa sana wa kwanza, na kisha baada ya mlipuko huo ulipotokea ukafuatiwa na milio kadhaa ya risasi ambayo iliendelea kwa muda, na inahofiwa kwamba kuna watu wengi ambao bado wamezuiliwa ndani ya hoteli ya Tusi pamoja na majengo mengine yaliyokuwa hapo, na ya sasa hatujaweza kuona mtu yeyote ambaye ameweza kuokolewa kutoka kuelekea nje. Na kinachoendelea kwa sasa kwamba pia kuna ndege aina ya helikopta ya maafisa usalama ambayo inapaa juu na inazunguka katika maeneo ya hotelini, na inakuwa kwamba bado mashambulizi yanaendelea. Na kile ambacho nimeweza kushuhudia tena, kuna magari ya ambulensi kadhaa yameweza kuelekea katika eneo hilo katika harakati ya kuweza kusubiri kujaribu kuokoa wale ambao wataweza kunusuriwa. Lakini kwa sasa wanahabari tumezuiliwa kuingia ndani zaidi, na inasemekana kwamba kuna baadhi ya wale washambulizi tunaweza kuona baadhi yao wanasemekana wameweza kutoroka, lakini kwa sasa pia inahofiwa kwamba huenda kuna wengine bado katika majengo ambayo katika eneo hilo la Tekea Tusi ambao kwa sasa maafisa usalama wanaendelea kukabiliana nao mule.
Na Vincent, sijui wapo wameweza kubaini iwapo milio hiyo ya risasi inatoka katika majumba kadhaa au ni jumba moja pekee?
Na kufahamishwa ni kwamba ni katika eneo ambalo liko hoteli ya Tusi, na eneo hilo kuna majumba mengine kadhaa, majumba ambayo yana makao ya kampuni kadhaa kama kampuni ya LG, kampuni ya pia Red House na Tusi. Ni eneo ambalo pana majengo kadhaa, kwa kimombo wanaita complex, na nikana kwamba wengine wanahofu kwamba shambulio hili lilianzia katika hoteli hiyo ya Tusi, lakini kwa kijumla ni kwamba ni maeneo ambayo yanazingira hoteli ya Tusi, ikiwemo hoteli yenyewe. Na maafisa wa hapa kwanza wakiongozwa na DCI mwenyewe yuko hapa Chinoti, ambaye yuko hapa anaongoza maafisa katika operesheni hii kuweza kutuliza hali na kuokoa hali.
Vincent, nauliza hiyo sehemu ambayo nilipokuwa ile milio ya risasi nasikika ni katika majumba ambayo ni afisi au ni majumba ya makazi ambayo yanazingira hoteli hiyo?
Na kwa mwisho kwamba majumba mengi ambayo yako hapa ni majumba ambayo yalikuwa na zile tunaita ofisi kadhaa. Kwa hivyo ni majumba ambayo yana ofisi kadhaa pamoja na hoteli ya Tusi. Lakini siwezi kuambia moja kwa moja ni yes na yes ambayo ameshambuliwa, lakini kuna wale wanasema kwamba shambulio lenyewe ni kana kwamba lilianzia katika hoteli ya Tusi.
Na pengine unasema kwamba kuna baadhi ya maafisa wa ngazi ya juu katika kitengo cha polisi, kitengo cha upelelezi, ujasusi, umezungumzia pengine amepata kuwasemesha kidogo?
Nairobi, and they are getting rid of that particular fire so that it stops being a smoke screen to the aerial operation that is being conducted also here. We have seen Kenya Air Force helicopters just hopping around this building to try and see whether there are people who are, there are attackers who are on the rooftop as earlier reported, and we are trying to close in because they're saying they have secured the place already, so we are safe to sort of just get into this place that we are, where we are right now, Hussein, and they have already substantively fought that particular fire that was consuming the vehicles here. We're trying to see how many more people are going to be rescued from this particular place that have been under attack ever since around 3 p.m. this afternoon. That was the first radio call that was made to the officers in the Nairobi command, just telling them that there is an active shootout. That active shootout turned out to be some sort of terror attack here in the Dusit G2 Hotel. We are seeing now they've managed to bring down the fire that was consuming the vehicles right here on the
Also, this just to remind you that it is an operation that is being conducted right now by the Director of Criminal Investigation, George Kinoti, who is right outside trying to tell people to leave a safe passage for ambulances and more response teams that are making their way into the D2 hotel. Remember, right now it's a multi-agency operation that is being conducted by the Breaker Squad, the elite squad that has been trained in close quarter battles. They are inside there trying to reach out to as many people as they can, evacuate as many innocent Kenyans as they can, remove safely from this particular building, and also trying to get at the attackers. Who are they? We are yet to understand who the attackers are. We yet to understand how many they are, but we know they came in using two vehicles. That is the vehicle, the KCN vehicle that we saw outside there, and another vehicle. We are seeing just an officer trying to escort one of the people who have been evacuated from inside that particular building there, and we'll try and speak to some of them to see what exactly they saw inside that building, so that we can get to know and to get an understanding of what really transpired inside here during this attack that is underway as we speak, Hussein. So we're trying to just make our way further closer.
Na vilevile Twitter. Kwa hivyo mtazamaji, hali ni hivi hapa katika barabara hii ya Riverside. Tunaambiwa kwamba tukio lenyewe limetokea katika eneo ambalo lina benki ya Prime au kwenda Prime Bank na vilevile hoteli ya D2, na tunasubiri tuone iwapo tutaweza kupenyeza tuweze kufika kule. Hatuna uhakika, lakini pia vilevile ubalozi wa Australia umeweza kuzingirwa na kwa sababu za kiusalama. Dixie, kwa umbali kitu ambacho tunatazama kwa sasa ni barabara hiyo. Hakuna shughuli ambazo zinaendelea. Hakuna shughuli ambayo inaendelea kwa sasa katika eneo hili, lakini ukiangalia maafisa wa polisi ambao wanafika hapa, gari ambazo
kwa ndani watu wanasubiri.
Na vipi, naona tayari ni kama kuna manyunyu yale.
Da mwelekeo hapa iwapo wanaturuhusu kuweza kujaribu kudadisi mawili matatu kuhusiana na jinsi
from where you're coming from right now, the rain is sort of making the operation quite sticky. What exactly have you gathered from where you are? Some of them have been trying to speak to the officers who are manning this operation to try and give us details of exactly what they're trying to do. And what they're doing is to try and surround the building as much as they can from all exits, to try and open up as many chances of survival as possible. But we're also being guided that some of the attackers could be up there. So it's also important that we stay in a safe manner because no one knows exactly where the attackers are. But basically what is happening is the effort to try and rescue as many people as possible right here in this building. And luckily, Hassan, more and more people continue to be rescued. We've seen quite a number of workers, some of the people who are here continue to find their way here. And basically, the rescue officers, we are told, are right inside, and that is some sense of comfort that they are going to try and help as many people as possible to try and get out of this building right here at Dusit Hotel. Actually now, Hassan, we are right outside the very last entrance of this hotel. Now begin to inform the now to take cover and stay very, very clear. We're just moving behind because we could be on the arc of fire of these particular people. So we're just backpedaling so that we can get to move to a safer ground so that we can be here on the front line to tell you what exactly is cutting from this age. We're staying vehicle how much coming in so that they can make their way inside of the building. This is a very tough situation right here, Hassan. One of those things that very many Kenyans least expected, especially at this time. Because everyone who is making their way in and out of this particular place, whether you have been rescued or not, you have to undergo some sort of vetting, and that is exactly what is going on here with the officers trying to ask questions to that gentleman who has walked out carrying a bag. They're trying to understand what exactly is inside the bag that he is carrying, so that they can know whether indeed he is an innocent, not one of the people who have orchestrated the attack. Not taking chances, and there you can see on your right, Hassan, not taking chances whatsoever, and that's why every person here is being treated as a suspect, and more officers continue to make their way here at Dusit Hotel. Basically, now what you can call the full combat is now here, basically to try and neutralize the attackers. When there's some sense of safety, some sense of security, that as many people who are inside Dusit Hotel have been evacuated, have been rescued. Now, the next effort is to try and confront the attackers right here in this hotel. So we are seeing a company of various GSU officers just advancing together with the Breke squad officers just disembarking from that vehicle here that is armored, and so that they can make their way inside and find as many people as possible that they will be evacuating from this particular place, as well as try to reach out to the attackers so that they can neutralize them, because it is a battle of active shooting. We have had guns as late as 3 minutes ago. And we think that the officers just entering there, and this is a tactical move that they are doing right now. They are moving on a single file so that they can cover each other, as well as they gather as much ground as possible inside that particular building that is under attack. Very well, Hassan, and we are also trying to be as quick as we can here, so that's also we don't give any advantage right there, the right inside there. So it's also a tricky situation right here outside Dusit Hotel. But the comfort that we can be able to give our viewers is that as many people as possible are being evacuated from this hotel. What remains unclear is the exact number of attackers. But some of the officers that have been able to speak to are saying that they were able to spot about 6 attackers right here. 6? We're seeing more and more GSU officers armed with a 45 combat move, and they are just moving in so that they can try and sort of salvage as much as possible from this building that is in a concern, as well as property could be destroyed here. And we have so far we have gotten information that one person, we have confirmed by saying that one person has lost his life. He had sustained a chest bullet wound from outside there. He was getting, treatment from the Red Cross Kenya people. But then again, we are fearing that the numbers could get even higher as more and more people are feared to have lost their lives in the active shooting that was going on inside the Dusit D2 hotel. We're just saying officers, they are moving in, and they are going right inside there. And also Abbas Guled, the Kenya Red Cross boss, is around to coordinate his team so that they can treat as many injuries as possible and manage those injuries as well. Okay, sure. The heartbreaking news, Hassan, is that some of the guests who had already made their way to the hotel here, we've seen some pictures of some guests who are actually at the dining areas who have been shot by the attackers. Some of the pictures that we cannot be able to show our viewers because they are gory. But definitely this kind of a situation has casualties. But what the security officers are trying to pay a lot of attention to, together with the Red Cross team and other rescuers, is to try and get as many people as possible from these hotels, to try and save as many lives as possible. And even the Reke team concentrate on confronting the attackers and neutralizing them. So the situation here is that one, save as many lives as possible, and at the same time try and confront the attackers. So it's a two-pronged kind of an operation where more and more officers from the Red Cross continue to be invited here, and more gunshots continue to run the air right here at the hotel, Hassan.
Yes, the coordinated attack, and we can see rescuers of the Red Cross just making their way into presumably take one of the people who have been who have been injured inside the building here. We are seeing operation by the Red Cross Kenya. More and more people have been rescued. We are seeing the hostages just making their way out of the building, and of course lucky to be alive. They're briskly walking and some running outside the jaws of death that they have just been rescued from. We are seeing also the Kenya Red Cross officers making their way in so that they can get those that have been injured in this particular situation. So it is a multi-agency operation here. We are seeing administration police officers as well as the regular police officers, the director of criminal investigation officers who are in plain clothes, and the elite Recce squad that has just made its way inside this particular building. And that is, as a result of that, is when now we're seeing more and more people getting out of this place safe and sound. And we have the heartbreaking news, like Gashuri has pointed out, is that we have seen several people who have lost their lives and have lost their lives of the hotel after they were making bookings to get into the hotel. Terrified hostages just being rescued here, as you can see, is the kind of situation, the heartbreak is not seeing or witnessing in this cloudy afternoon in Nairobi. Hussein.
Hi, Hassan and Gashuri. Those are live pictures from Riverside. What seems to be an attack at Tutit Hotel that is in along 14 Riverside. Of course, authorities have not yet classified if this is a terror attack or not. We can only get that confirmation from them, but of course there's an attack there. It's very apparent from what Francis Gashuri and Hassan Mugambi have been telling us. Gashuri and Mugambi, again, we've seen pictures, you've been telling us, we've seen people being rescued. And we've seen authorities advance to assume ground floor of Tutit Hotel. Is that it? Are they going up? Are they waiting first to see if they can evacuate people before they engage? What is really going on?
What Hussein is happening is to try and minimize the casualties in the best way possible. And so the first effort is to try and rescue as many people as possible, such that in the event of a confrontation between the security officers and the attackers, the innocent people who are workers or people who have come to this hotel as guests are not caught up in the crossfire. So basically, the first effort for the security officers is to try and rescue as many people as possible, try and evacuate as many people
ambao tutakuwa tukizungumza nao. Kuna baadhi ya wanahabari kutoka pale wanapata kusema nasi, na vile kwa sasa tutakuwa tukisema na baadhi ambao walishuhudia yale ambao yalitokea, na kuna baadhi ya kauli ambazo tumeziweka pamoja hapa. Ningependa tupate kuzisikiliza kwa hisani ya BBC, na ningependa tusikilize baadhi tu kama hizi.
Watu wako kando, kwa timu na imekuja sasa, niliingia tu hivi tulisikia bomu, kama bomu ingine ndio ndio sasa watu walilala chini. Sasa mtu utatujui nini ndio uko ndani. Ulisema ulikuwa unaona watu wakiwa wakikuja hapa kwa ile siku hizi zinaona siku hapa kama ngapi? Alikuja siku ya kwanza akaniachia akanena hadi kwa peke yake akaingia sisi akapafanya pesa akaingia ndani mwangalie kanini kurudi akaniachia mia ndio na shusho na kaenda.
Sasa mtazamaji, ndio hivyo kauli za baadhi ya ambao walikuwa pale
the 4th floor of Cavendish building, which is basically the building next to Tutit.
Yeah.
And all I heard was a loud bang.
Right.
Or a loud explosion, maybe we can put it that way. And then after that, I looked through the window and I saw smoke outside. And of course, immediately I knew there was a problem. Luckily, at around that time, I was already making plans to actually leave the office.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically just, grabbed whatever I could grab from the office and ran outside the office and used the stairs together with a host of other people. And we actually we were hearing explosions and gunshots all around the buildings. And we ran and used a backside escape route to Westland side, to the ICA building.
Right.
But as we were leaving, there were gunshots all over the place. Interesting enough, at least for me, I didn't particularly see somebody with a gun shooting around, but there were gunshots all over the place. And 14 Riverside is a complex of several buildings. There are 6, 7 buildings there.
Exactly.
And then as we were running out, we kept hearing explosions. Actually, my car is left there. So, and I am sure there are people who've lost their lives. I don't know who they are. I don't know how many they are. But so I had a big conversation with one of the watchmen or the security officers who was telling me that actually the past explosion was a suicide bomber. At a small restaurant that we have around there that's called Riverside. So that was actually the past explosion.
Right. Dr. Mark Matunga, of course, again, I'm sorry for what you've seen and what you've gone through and what you've witnessed. Yes, it's about, I think, 6 or 7 buildings on 14 Riverside. Did you see if this was targeted at any specific building? Was it Dusit Hotel?
Well, so I don't think it was targeted specifically to Dusit Hotel, because if the suicide bomber exploded at a secret garden, then it is the restaurant next to Dusit.
Right.
So it might not be the Dusit Hotel, but then I'm hearing from the information I got from the watchman, when you're getting into Dusit, or 14 Riverside, there are a lot of checkpoints. So one of the watchmen at the checkpoint was telling me that actually there were several people with guns who jumped over the fence from outside the complex. They actually started shooting.
Okay, that's interesting. And several people, do we know, okay, I mean, this could also mean security forces?
Pardon?
When you talk about there are several people also jumping through the fence and shooting, are you talking about security? It could be security officers.
After the explosion, there are several, according to what the watchman was telling me, there are other people with guns that jumped over the fence from outside the complex that were shooting aimlessly. These were not Kenyan security forces, and those were basically just 1 or 2 minutes after the explosion.
Okay, very complex, but of course, these are the watchmen. So, Dr. Mark Matunga, of course, will keep engaging you, if you can stay on the line. He's telling us he was in the building, one of the attached buildings, was about 7 buildings in 14 Riverside. About 3:22 p.m., he had a large explosion and tried to make his way out. Successfully did. So many people running, gunshots all over. Talked about one of the watchmen there, was security guard, allegedly saying that there was a suicide bomber involved. Also talking about several people jumping through the fence, I don't know which one exactly, but in the compound, shooting aimlessly. That is why Mark, you're saying this should not be our security officers. Dr. Matunga, if you're still with us, just for the sake of your
some people are safe, some aren't
exactly
safe.
how this place looks. How many buildings? Okay, I gather that the call has been dropped. We'll be talking to him and more later on. But of course, these are eyewitness accounts. Verification at such times can be quite difficult, and that is why we are saying police or authorities have not yet classified this as a terror attack, but definitely it's an attack, and it's seemingly a well-coordinated one. Francis Gashuri and Hassan Mugambi on the ground, and we are seeing more and more people coming from the building, all buildings, because there are many. Gashuri, meaning there's more and more evacuation.
Absolutely, we say more and more evacuations continue here outside the Dusit Hotel, but it's also a very scary situation here because no one knows exactly where the attackers are. So it's a very tricky situation. Actually, we are now being taken away from where we are, but definitely more and more security operations continue here. The rescue efforts, the ambulance is advancing now closer and closer towards the entrances of the Dusit Hotel to try and evacuate those who have been trying to rush those who have been evacuated to hospital. And some of the vehicles that were actually at the parking lot here, some we have seen some of the taxis have serious, their mirrors, their windscreens have been shattered by bullets. And so basically, it's a very terrifying situation here at the Dusit Hotel, Hussein. But as I told you earlier, what the efforts that are going on are the efforts to try and rescue as many people as possible. This vehicle, the driver cannot be seen. Some of the taxis around here are shot at by the attackers, we are told. And so the efforts to try and get it out of the way so that it can clear the way for the ambulances and the other security officers who are trying to rescue the situation here. Hussein, very tough, intense moment here. But basically, the workers and the guests who are holed up at the basement of the hotel have all been rescued. And so what you're being told by the officers now, the next effort now is to try and advance as close as possible to where the attackers could be hiding, to try and flush out those attackers and neutralize them right here at the Dusit Hotel.
And I'm assuming from that methodical approach, Kashuri, they believe they are on the upper floors because you've seen them accessing the ground floor and the basement, as you say, and we've seen more and more. Hassan Gambi, if you can also join us, and we've seen more and more people being evacuated.
Absolutely, and Hassan is also here. Hassan, what basically you're seeing is a very methodical kind of a situation to try and reach to where the would-be attackers are. But it's also like dropping in the dark because no one knows exactly where they are and how important they could be or what they could be armed with. And so that's why more and more security officers continue to make their way here to try and see whether they can be able to neutralize the would-be attackers that are holed up right here at the hotel.
Well, yeah, it's quite a bit of confusion here because one of the vehicles that has been, that is being pushed right here, right now, was there during the time of attack. As you can see clearly from his left hind window, has been shot at, and you can also see a bullet that pierced through the driver's seat to come out all the way to the back seat, and he is nowhere to be found. That is why it is proving quite a hindrance here at the entrance, because the ambulances that have made their way, they have just snaked their way, so to speak, inside this particular place. And we are seeing also a methodical way, as you put it earlier on, a methodical way of trying to get as much hostages as possible out and save this particular place so that they can now be left with the armed gunmen who are inside there. But they also run a risk of, getting to rescue even those people who have been the attackers, if at all they will press down their guns and walk out with their hands up. And that is why they are vetting these people who are coming out of that particular place and just asking them questions so that they can find out.
No doubt, very tough moments here, Hassan, and we're trying to comply with what the security officers are asking us to do because it's also a security operation, and try and get out from what they say in the security situation, the security zone. We're trying to advance as much as we can outside the Dusit Hotel, because now the security officers are telling us that they want to be left to deal with the situation now, because they have been able to rescue as many people as possible, and so they don't want us to tell them what is happening in terms of trying to combat with the attackers here. But definitely what can be relieving, Hassan, is that at least more and more people continue to be rescued here. And so let's say many more lives continue to be saved, even as the security officers advance towards the right inside the hotel.
Well, yes, a lot of lives have been saved here in this particular place. We have seen a lot of people walk out of this place alive and just worried and terrified because, of course, of what has transpired prior to their rescue. But then again, they have been rescued safe and sound, and they are here like to direct our cameraman here, Obado, so that he cannot hit himself over the things that are behind him. And yes, we are now walking out. We have been told to walk out. But before you do that, Hassan, look, this is one of the vehicles that you were talking about when the pedestrians were thrown and direction. So definitely a very tough kind of situation here. And even as more and more rescue efforts continue. But luckily, one can say more and more lives continue to be saved, even as the security officers advance towards the Lucid Hotel. And now we're just making our way to the junction with Chiromo Road. That is where we are being told to head.
Tunapoweza kupokea taarifa rasmi, tutakuwa tunaelezea watazamaji wetu ni tukio la aina gani, manake wengi labda wameingiwa na hofu kutokana na jinsi miaka kadhaa iliyopita hali ilivyokuwa katika eneo hili, na tunasubiri tuone tutapokea taarifa gani kutoka kwa vitengo vya usalama. Lakini kwa sasa katika barabara inayotoka mjini au jijini Nairobi kuelekea maeneo ya Waiyaki kuna msongamano mkubwa wa magari, jinsi inavyoelezwa na maripota wetu wengine ambao wako eneo hilo, wakisema kwamba kutokana na tukio hili basi barabara hiyo imeweza kushuhudia msongamano mkubwa sana wa magari. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wapata durusu kwa mbali kidogo, kama naweza muona bwana piloti, lakini kama
ngoja ifike wana
lakini
wanaripoti washatoka,
ni vipi bila risasi ambayo nasikia hapo awali imetulia, lakini vikosi ambavyo vinashughulika na uokoaji